Okay, so I promised myself this one's gonna be a fast video. Okay, let's try to do it. This one's just pictures and me talking. That's it. I'm not gonna put any text. I'm not gonna put any details, anything, nothing. Okay, so very quickly, I'm gonna be talking about how does haki actually work in One Piece and what we actually know about One Piece, or like how haki is actually a power level in One Piece, believe it or not. Specifically, Conqueror's haki. For the people that have Conqueror's haki, haki is like a level of power, or you can measure it, sort of thing. Um, so yeah, I'm just gonna go quickly through these images. I'm just gonna be explaining haki, and then from that, I'm just gonna try to explain what I want to explain. So first of all, let's just go with what we know. Haki is a power that lies in all the One Piece characters. It's the ability to sense spiritual energy and overpower enemies, and everyone possesses it in the One Piece world to some degree, right? The main thing about haki that I think everybody needs to understand is that all the One Piece characters have haki. Like even the characters that don't have haki have it. Like they just cannot use it efficiently or not use it at all, right? So if this is if this is like complex, just think of it like this. Back in Arabasta, Zoro was fighting against Mr. One, and he used Haki. He tapped into Haki to defeat Mr. One. Um, but then he couldn't use Haki. He just didn't have access to Haki again. You can argue that he didn't have access to Haki until Skypiea. Uh, and even at that, you could even argue that he didn't have it consistently until Enies Lobby. And even at that, you can even say that what he was doing was just tapping it, but he wasn't using it properly, and he only did it properly until the time skip, until Fishman Island, Savali, whatever you want to call it. Um, so yeah, that's the main thing. The thing is that every One Piece character has it, and every One Piece character can potentially use it. It really is just a matter of training to use it consistently or use it efficiently. That's that kind of stuff. The other thing here is that um, Rayleigh says that to never doubt is power. Uh, to never doubt is power basically means that when characters hesitate, you're weaker, and this is kind of like a theme that again Oda has put into the story consistently. If you watch my previous video, you should know that in One Piece, delusion is power. Being delusional is power. It doesn't mean that delusion is the only power, but it means that delusional people usually are stubborn. Stubborn people at the same time will not hesitate, and it is that thing exactly. It is to never doubt. Uh, this to never doubt that gives them power. To never doubt gives them strength. It is also the reason why Lucci was able to no diff Zoro and Luffy in Water 7. But then in Enies Lobby, the Luffy was handling Lucci. He was kind of sort of maybe keeping up, right? Like you saw it basically. You saw same Luffy, base Luffy by the way, was kind of matching Rob Lucci without the devil fruit, blow for blow. This is from coming from getting out diff by Rob Lucci. And even basically the author tells you this. There's a scene if you want to go read it or watch it. It's basically after Luffy and Zoro get stuck, and Nami tells them that Robin saved them. That then Nami tells to some bystanders that the straw hats get 100 times stronger when they don't hesitate. So this is just something that Oda has in his writing. He also did this in Barati. It was when he was giving that speech about the spear of willpower and how being brave and following your dream is more powerful than even like all the technology of the world, right? Like the willpower is the strongest asset that you could have. So it's just a consistent theme, and Haki just turns that idea of like willpower allowing you to tap in to sort of lock in and entering super serious mode. He turns that not just from the idea that you're locking in and you're just playing better or fighting better than normal, but it also turns it into actual power. It turns it into actual power that you can harness, right? So uh, we also, if you want, there's also another point in which we can see that willpower is specifically to do not doubt about your actions makes you stronger. We see the inverse happen in Wano when Sanji's getting hit by Black Maria. Uh, there's a speech that there's an inner speech that Sanji is telling himself in how he's incapable of using haki to protect himself. He's just not capable of using the haki. This is because Sanji has this I want to call it uh, vow. Yeah, he Sanji has made this vow in which he just doesn't hit a woman. He just doesn't. He just doesn't harm women in any shape or form. Um, and basically, what he's telling us is that if you do not have the willpower, you cannot use haki. You can be a haki master, but if you do not have the willpower to use the haki, then you cannot use it. That is to say, if Sanji had the willpower to use it, he could have just used haki, negated the punches from Black Maria, he would have been fine. But since it's a woman and using that haki to protect himself would have hurt Black Maria, he chose not to use that haki. Then he took damage. So yeah, that's just the quick basics of haki. Then Sanji tells us that there's two types that everybody has, and that is the power to sense an opponent. That's observation haki. Basically, this one gives you the ability to read the location, number movements of enemies. It's basically like a sixth sense to sense everything around you. As you get better, you can sense more things like emotions, which is what Fujitora has. Um, and in the case of more advanced applications, you can even see the future, like Karakuri has. Um, okay, so next is the color of armament, right? And the color of armament is it's basically like here's I'm just gonna be reading the definitions, right? Rayleigh calls it an invisible suit of armor. Uh, and he also says that it's useful to attack the weak point. It's a power to counter the fruit users and specifically to hurt logia types. Basically, hacking makes them vulnerable. Okay, so this one, this is probably the most complex haki of the three of them. Um, it's basically because it does a bunch of things. So let's begin. The first one is the invisible suit of armor. It basically just reinforces things. This is just something that it does. Basically, you put it on an object, and the object is harder. It's capable of turning wood into a steel level of durability, arguably even stronger if you have a stronger haki, right? Um, then after that, uh, you get this thing of that it can counter devil fruit abilities, and this one we can see specifically with the application that Law used. Like if you just pump yourself a bunch of haki, you can negate an ability. Just straight up negate the ability. You just need to have enough haki to negate that specific ability. And I think that you need different levels of haki for each type of ability, right? For example, some abilities just simply demand you to use more haki, or maybe it depends on the strength of that ability. Because, for example, Lao was able to negate the disease fruit ability, but Big Mom wasn't able to negate the awakened. What was the awakened magnet fruit ability, right? So again, it depends on the potency of the ability, but I supposedly, like let's assume, like if Roger was instead of Big Mom fighting Kid, he probably can negate that ability with enough haki. Here is just to think of either Big Mom just wasn't harnessing enough haki, or she straight up didn't have the level of haki required. But the thing idea is that they can be suppressed. You just need to have enough haki. And then the other thing is that you can hit things that cannot be hit, right? So basically, kind of like interact with intangible concepts. We do not know if it works for everything. It probably doesn't, to be honest. I mean, like I haven't seen. No, we actually kind of know for sure it doesn't, right? Because like when some hacky users were trying to fight the the Big Mom soul possessed things, right? I think specifically when somebody was trying, I think it was Marco, when Marco was fighting but we don't know if Marco was using fire plus devil fruits haki. We don't know that. The thing is, we don't know if haki like haki just can counter every non-physical thing, right? Like we don't know if Luffy could have used haki to punch a construct of light that wasn't Kizaru, right? Like it works against devil fruits, but does it work against every non-physical thing or every fluid-like thing? My main idea would be that yes, it probably does. It's just a matter of attuning it, or obtaining enough mastery to sort of switch in between. Because I believe that that's how swordsmanship styles work in One Piece. Basically, the idea of cutting steel or cutting fire is probably based or rooted on haki. I do not think it's rooted on magic or something. I think it's rooted on haki. But to be fair, this one's just a speculation. We don't really know. But again, let's just recap a little bit. So far we know observation haki, sensing things around you, kind of like a second sense to notice everything that surrounds you. And then armament is basically reinforces your power. It makes you physically stronger, or it specifically it's like an armor. You put an armor on yourself or on things you want to reinforce, and then it can counter devil fruits, and it can you can touch Loya devil fruit users with this. You can hurt them. Okay, so that's it. Aside from that, Rayleigh here uses some examples just to tell you some things. And then Rayleigh also mentions that there's a third hacky ability. And this is the one that I'm going to be focusing on. I really just want to clarify one thing about. I'm going to clarify how Conqueror's Haki works. Okay? So here's the thing. Conqueror's Haki is something that basically some people possess. The famous people, some possess. And then you can control it, but you cannot train it directly. You can the only way you can get better with conquerors is by growing your spirit. Become yourself stronger, and then your spirit will grow stronger. So this is what I meant by power levels and stuff like that. So the idea here is that basically, if you have a room of supreme conqueror users, the strongest, the one that has the strongest supreme king, the one with the strongest supreme king haki, is the strongest. That's how it works. It's as simple as that. Simple as that. Why does it work like that? Very simple. Because right here you get the notice that the Supreme King Haki only grows stronger with the user, right? As so, what that means is that basically, let's say this, right? So you have Kaido and you have Shanks, right? And I want you to imagine the following. Imagine Shanks without the Conquerors, and imagine Kaido without the Conquerors, right? So let's say that Kaido has a power level of 5 and Shanks has a power level of 4, right? So what Rayleigh tells us here is that, you know, Conqueror's Haki grows stronger with the let me just erase this because I wanna clarify something. So Rayleigh tells us that Conqueror's Haki grows stronger with the user, right? So what that basically means is that Conqueror's Haki will reflect the power level of the user, right? So if Kaido is a 5, then he's gonna have a 5 of Conqueror's Haki. And if Shanks is a 4, then he's gonna have a 4 of Conqueror's Haki. So it's just a reflection. It's a one-to-one reflection. What I'm trying to get at here is basically that a lot of people like to tell things like, oh, maybe this character is weaker without Conqueror's Haki, but when you put in the Conqueror's Haki, he's stronger. His Conqueror's Haki is bigger than the Conqueror's Haki of another character. Like one character, like basically some people want to say something like Kaido has 5 in strength without Conquerors, but with Conquerors he have 3, so he's an 8, right? When you mix the powers. But Shanks has like a 4 in power, but he has like a 5 in Conqueror's Haki. So when you mix him, he's a 9, so he's stronger than Kaido. And I'm telling you, that's not how it works at all. The way that it works is that as strong as you are without the Haki, you get a bonus of the same amount of power you have, right? So yeah, that's it. So how are they added? How much is the amount of haki? Right? Is it like 5? Is it like in the tens? Is it like the hundreds? Is it in the millions? Do you multiply it? Do you square it? Do you exponential it? Whatever. That doesn't matter. What matters is that Rayleigh right there tells you that basically it all depends on how strong you are, on how much conquerors you're gonna get. It's as simple as that. So again, the main idea here is that if Shanks is stronger than Kaido with his conquerors, then Shanks is also going to be stronger than Kaido without his conquerors. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That's just how it works. Now, to beat a guy like Kaido, you need conquerors. You just straight up need it. It's required to beat him. So, like, that hypothetical matchup is not gonna happen. But let's use Kizaru because that one's better. So, no, that's not better. Let's use Royer, right? Personally, yeah, I do have Shanks over Royer. So, but that doesn't matter here right now. But just enjoy my hypothetical for now, right? So if Shanks has like a 5 in Conquerors, then his strength without Conquerors is a 5, right? And if Royer has a 6 in Conquerors, then his strength without Conquerors is a 6, right? Well, that's all I'm trying to say. All I'm trying to say is that stop thinking that the Conquerors is going to be a different amount from the Conqueror power is directly related to the power of the user without the Conquerors, okay? It's directly related. I want everybody to understand that. That's the main point of this video. Okay, so here we have some more text. This is just something to remind the audience and to talk about. So here, Rayleigh basically tells you that like, only the people that have talent can learn haki in 2 years, and this is the basics, by the way. If you do not have talent, tough luck. That's it. You don't got it. You just don't got it. And this is important because I think it is something that I think, and it's a valid criticism that we have to ask, like, why is the Pirate King crew not learning haki? Why the fuck isn't Frankie like busting out some like armament haki? Why isn't Robin learning armament haki to touch the Logias? Why is that not happening? And bottom line, I think it's just this. It literally is that it takes a lot of time unless you're really talented and focused on that. So that's it. I mean, this is 2 years that Luffy was just training, and yeah, 2 years just focused on training, being one of the most talented fighters in the world of One Piece, and it took him 2 years, but technically a year and a half. So he actually outperformed, Rayleigh's expectations. But like, still, that's a bunch of time that Luffy had to take for that. Some people just don't got it. I'm gonna be honest. Chopper, for example, Chopper is a strong boy, but he's not as talented as Luffy for fights. He's just not. and he's also going to spend half his time studying. So he's just not gonna. Chopper's not gonna learn haki. He's just not gonna. Nami, also super talented. She's doing her maps. He's not gonna put in 2 years worth of time to just train physical abilities, and this is 2 years assuming that she has talent for haki. If she doesn't have talent for haki, she's probably gonna take 4 years. So like it's too much time. It's too much time. It's just not gonna happen. Um, so yeah, I mean, like the characters that it's kind of egregious that they don't have haki would be Robin and Brooke. That would be it, because like Frankie has technology. Technology is gonna carry Frankie to the finish line. He's fine. Um, yeah, so Robin and Brooke probably should get haki. I think if Oda is like if Oda chooses to do it, he would just give them armament. It's probably just gonna be that. They're just gonna get basic armament, and they're just gonna say something like, "I'm still training. I still don't got it. I still not perfect in it, but I can tap into it from time to time." That would be genius writing from Oda, just to say that they are still trying to get it, but it takes time, and they just haven't achieved the mastery. Uh, that would be fine, I guess. But all this problem not gonna do it. He's just gonna do the fights without haki. Um, let's see. What else? What else? What else? And then Rayleigh also tells the idea that some people just gravitate to one of the colors and they just become good at them. They just super train one of them. We can see this in a character like Katakuri. Katakuri is super trained the observation, and it gave fruits. I mean, like he can use future sight, which means that Katakuri at 40 is a better future. I mean, it's a better haki master than somebody like Don Chin Yao, right? Like Don Chin Yao spent all his life fighting with haki, at least since his mid 20s, and he's just not at that level. He's never achieved that. Uh, so yeah, there's that. Ultimately, for main monster trio, which is Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji, they're gonna get all the three abilities. They're gonna master all of them. Uh, Sanji is probably the one that I see that he's just gonna specialize in observation. He's just gonna specialize on that. He's probably not gonna get no, because I think you need Rio to get advanced color of conquerors. I think he so no, forget about it. For a lot of time I think he was just gonna get advanced color of conquerors and future sight, but I'm misremembering. I'm definitely messing up because as I was reviewing these haki introductions, haki discussions, I realized that he's gonna need Rio for advanced color of conqueror. So yeah, like the monster trees are gonna get all the haki. They're gonna get all of them. So yeah, that's it. Uh, okay, let's continue on with this. Anyways, so here we have Sora versus Pika. Uh, Now this is also a pivotal moment for Haki and how it works, in which all introduces the idea that okay, if what happens if a Haki user fights a non-Haki user? Well, we already know the Haki user is gonna disrupt that person and is gonna be able to hurt them. They're gonna be able to touch them, to interact with them, etc. Right? And then Oda says, what happens if two Haki users clash? What happens? Well, basically, the one with the bigger haki gets to do the attack, and the other person just doesn't. Right? Or, uh, well, no. To be fair, technically speaking, no, it does, because what Pika is implying here, with this is that um, he sees Zoro. He knows Zoro can use haki, right? Because he has been attacking Pika with haki all day. So Pika sees Zoro, and he's confident that he is invincible when he's infused with haki. That is to say, I think that my mess up here is that the first person that introduces is not Pika. It's actually Bergo. It's Bergo versus Law. And basically, if you have better haki, it doesn't matter that somebody's attacking you with haki. It's not gonna do any damage. That's basically Haki can do damage negation. That's basically what I was sort of introducing to the story here. Like if your haki is big enough, you can do damage negation, and that is something that is introduced. We're gonna talk about it in God Valley, which it gets better, but yeah. Uh, Here Mihawk introduces the idea a little bit again. If you imbue your weapons with haki, your weapons won't take any damage. Again, use haki and you can do damage negation. That is what Mihawk's introducing. And believe me, if this Dressrosa Zoro imbued his swords with haki and fought like a prime Mihawk or something like that, and Mihawk was really trying to break his blades, he probably can still break Zoro's blades. Yeah, because Mihawk has enough haki to stop the damage negation from the haki that Zoro put in his blades. So that's just also how it works. Then here in Dressrosa, we also get interested in the idea of having a haki pool, having a limited amount of haki. So basically, Luffy tells that after using Bondman, he cannot use haki for 10 minutes. This is implying the idea that haki is an infinite, right? Because if it's willpower, if it's really just something in your mind, like a D in your mouth, like the idea of wanting to fight or something, if it's just one-to-one willpower, it doesn't make any sense for Luffy to run out because he's still willing to fight Flamingo here. He still would have wanted to fight him. He just cannot fight him. He's too exhausted. Uh, and basically, here is where we need to remember the basics of haki. We need to remember what it is. Haki is a power. Dormant never. Okay, so again, technically never stated specifically like this, but I'm going to explain it like this. Just because I think it's a good explanation. Haki, it's kind of like key energy from Dragon Ball, right? It's a little bit like that. It's not quite like that, because again, key energy you can train it. You can do weights, and your key energy is gonna increase, and you're gonna get stronger like that. Haki, we're not sure if that's how it works. We know that that's how it works for Color of Conquerors. For Conquerors, that's how it works. That's how we get it. You get stronger. You can lift bigger weights. You have stronger Color of Conquerors. That's it. But if you can lift bigger weights, we have never been stated that that affects your ability to use armament hacking, right? In fact, based on how Rayleigh talks about conquerors, the idea that uh, here say it says that basically you can control Supreme King, but you cannot control Supreme King, but you cannot train Supreme King. That implies the idea that you can train armament and observation. That is to say, for armament and observation, you can get better aside from doing weights and stuff. You can, I don't know, meditate and eventually have a better mastery. But for conquerors, it's different, right? So armament and observation basically work different than key, whereas conquerors works kind of similar to key, right? Conquerors, as you train, you get better conquerors. Key, as you train, you get better conquerors. But in the one thing that key has in similarity to haki is that you can technically run out, right? Like you do have a finite amount of key and you do have a finite amount of haki, and you can run out. Doesn't happen a lot in Dragon Ball that you run out of ki, if I remember correctly. But as the story is written, it can happen. You can run out of that. And with haki, it's the same. It's kind of like a life energy, but it's never stated as a life energy. So yeah, there's that. Anyways, so what was I talking about again? Okay, so now let's go to Hyogoro's training very quickly. So basically, Hyogoro here is telling Luffy something. This is after Luffy removed Hyogoro's chains in the same way that Rarely did. The main idea here is that Hyogoro is training Luffy and it's telling him that Haki gets stronger in the midst of danger. Basically, this is the idea that power appears in battle, right? Now, does this mean that battling is better for training? I think not. I think that training is still the best thing to grow stronger in One Piece. Specifically, when a master gives you a hint, that's probably the best thing you can have to get stronger. But it it does mean that basically in the midst of battle, you can get better at using haki, right? You can master it better. Just an idea, I guess. Uh, an idea that all throws into the story. That's kind of it. Um. Anyways, he's just talking about that. Hyogoro is talking about the power that Luffy used, which is the power that Rayleigh showed him, the ability to break the inside of okay. So the haki that Hyogoro knows, the haki that he knows, is the one in which you use the invisible armor, like here with Rayleigh. It should be right around Ray. I didn't take it. Damn, that's very bad for me that I didn't do a screenshot of that one. But it's basically the one that's like an invisible armor. It's the one in which you project your haki outside of your body, right? And then the advanced one that Luffy uses is the one that in which you do internal damage. It's the internal damage application, right? So it's two levels above the regular. It's here is the explanation. Okay, so so invisible armor is this one, and then the level beyond is penetrate the enemy's interior, which is this one right here. And basically, yeah, Luffy learns how to use this one. And this one is the one that, and he's trying to master this other one. They want to destroy the change. This one is the one that he's trying to master here. Although at this point he doesn't know how to do either. So first he just learns that one. Now here's the this is something that I think that I just hadn't paid enough attention. I really just began to understand it at this point. So basically, Hyogoro talks about internal damage as if it's hard, but he doesn't say something like it's conquerors. He never specifies whether this is a power for conquerors user only. And to be honest, I think we still don't have confirmation if this is basically what I'm trying to say is we do not know if this internal damage that we're being told here, we are not sure if this is ACoC, right? Because the thing here is that we just don't have the visual indicator. When Hyogoro is freed by Luffy with this thing, there are no lightings. There's no lighting coming from here. If there was lighting coming from here, basically this would just be confirmation that this is ACoC, right? That this is ACoC, right? Like as soon as you do internal damage, that's ACoC. We do not have that. So the main idea here is that this is just armament, right? This is just the highest level of armament that we know so far. That's the thing that we're following right now. So this is the highest level of armament. This is armament. But here's the fun part. Here's the interesting thing. When Luffy is fighting Kaido, I'm gonna use purple in honor of Kaido. When Luffy is fighting Kaido, he remembers this about the internal destruction right before he uses ACoC. Right before he uses ACoC. So the main thing here is that And this is what I was trying to say. Basically, to use ACoC, you need to use this highest level of armament first. So it's this highest level of armament. You use the highest level of armament, and then you put Colors of Conquerors on top of that, and that's how you get ACoC, right? So you need the highest level of armament, and then you put Color of Conquerors on top of that, and that is ACoC. That's basically the thing that I am now believing. This is basically what I think that Oda was trying to tell, that ACoC is this highest level of armament and Color of Conquerors, right? Put in top of that. So yeah, that is just comment, because to be honest, completely with you, I just wasn't sure. I mean, like, I thought that maybe Color of Conquerors was just completely separate, right? Like he just figured out that he can just put Color of Conquerors on everything, right? But I think that you can only put it on this specific thing. I think that's the thing. You can only put it on this thing. You cannot put it on every attack. You need this. Well, at least that's my theory. I'm not 100% sure. Anyways, I mean, it's just funny because again, you gotta think this as writing wise. Like, why is Luffy remembering this? Why are we being shown uh, this thing right before he gets Echo? Like, why does this matter when he's gonna get Echo? So it means that they are related. This and ACoC are related. But yeah, it could also just be a comparison that this attack just didn't work at all. But I think the main idea here is that no, it is Hyogoro's teaching that are helping Luffy jump into the next level. It is understanding this concept that he can now use cock on top of this, and he's just stronger or something. Whatever. Uh, Anyways, now that we have gotten through the hard part, let's just go back to nice things. So basically, here's just another thing about Haki. Basically, that Haki is taxing on the body because Kaido tells us that Dead Man Walking cannot use ACoC. And yeah, I think this is just the thing. I think that ACoC is supposed to be something that's hard on the body. I think this also explains why Whitebeard didn't spam a lot of ACoC when he was old and dying, because he just couldn't. He just didn't have the power to do it at all. I think it's also why Big Mom doesn't spam it. It's because she's older now. She's past her prime. I think Big Mom is past her prime. Um, it makes sense because, to be honest, like for example, the things that Big Mom does, like when she fights Kaido for 3 days, we know for sure that Kaido didn't go all out. And to be honest, I think it's better for Big Mom's reputation if we just say that she's past her prime. Like, past her prime, she was still one of the top tiers of the bears. She was still holding back against Law and Kid. She was still comparable to Kaido. I think it's just better if we just treat her like, past her prime, like we do with Garp. I think it's better. Anyways, yeah. Here we have the one that this is basically the thing that we know. This is ACoC. We are 100%. There's no room for error. We just know it, and this is just proof that it's using the armament, as I was saying before, or something. I'm gonna put it with this armament. So it is a combination of things. It is, yeah. Anyways, then here's just Kyle talking about Haki being a powerful weapon. Here's Luffy talking about Kaido's Haki getting stronger in the middle of battle. Again, just probably just telling us, right? Haki can shift in power because Haki is not just energy; it's also energy that's dependent on your mind. So yeah, that is something to take into consideration. Just to remember that if somebody, for example, doesn't perform as high as you think that it should perform, it's probably again because their hack is just not quite there. Okay, so here's Kaido talking about Haki is the one ability above everything. Abilities cannot conquer the world, but Haki can. Only Haki transcends all. So basically, what Kaido is telling you with this is again, if you train enough, you will get access to Haki. And Haki gives you a set of abilities that can reign over everything, right? Because Haki has the ability to negate devil fruit powers. It has the ability to increase your power by the same amount of power that you have, or maybe bigger. Maybe it's a multiplier. We don't know. But it can increase your power. And then on top of that, we're also being told basically that the person with the biggest haki is the victor basically. Like Roger didn't have any fruits and he got the One Piece like that. So yeah, Kaido's just telling us, and Oda is telling us through Kaido that Haki is what matters, right? Haki is the power that is capable of going above everything. It doesn't matter if you are fighting like an experience in like a super powerful devil fruit. If the Haki is strong enough, you can beat the super powerful devil fruit user. That's what Oda's trying to tell us, and it's telling us this because Luffy just got the most broken devil fruit ever. So because he got the most broken devil fruit ever, then Oda wants to tell us the idea that yeah, but Luffy's haki also needs to be strong enough. Because if it isn't strong enough, then his devil fruit ability won't matter. The devil fruit isn't what makes Luffy special. His haki is what makes Luffy special. I want to write haki, but whatever. Should be fine. Anyways, yeah, even here in the final clash, knowing what we know now that Haki can negate Haki, now we can see that yeah, basically Luffy's Haki had to be strong enough to negate Kaido from bypassing his defense and touching his fist, right? So Luffy won this clash because the Haki was equal or stronger. If it wasn't equal or stronger, then Kaido would have touched Luffy's feet, Luffy's fist, and it would have been game over. But that didn't happen. So Luffy had better or equal haki to Kaido at this moment. Okay, finishing these things up. Okay, so here we have something of like Gavan telling us that Supreme King Haki is capable of harming immortal bodies. Again, this is the idea of that, yeah, Haki probably can transcend everything, right? Like even things that are dependent on devil fruits, right? Because the God Knight's abilities, specifically the regeneration, doesn't come from a devil fruit power that they have. It would come either from a devil fruit power side effect or directly from a demon itself. So, um, again, we just have this idea of like haki can possibly be used to interact with anything and everything. That's just how the world works in One Piece. And then we also have this. This is just one thing we need. Basically, that haki is powerful when it's used and controlled. Basically, you need to be aware of it and control it properly. If you do not, then you're wasting power and you're not using it properly, and it's gonna be weaker. It's what Kaido was telling Luffy that he wasn't using it correctly. He just wasn't using the power correctly. Again, this is just idea that you have to master it. It's not good enough just to have it. In fact, everybody has it, and in fact, you're making it stronger as you make yourself stronger. But if you do not know how to use it, it doesn't matter. For example, Luffy had a strong conqueror since the beginning of Sabaody, but he didn't know how to use the conquerors to infuse his power. He didn't have ACoC. So he was weaker. If he had ACoC, he would have one-shotted the Flamingo. Again, this is just a thing. Then here comes God Valley. God Valley also clarifies some stuff here. Basically, Roger introduces the idea of mass. Basically, the idea that to beat a Haki master, you have to use more Haki, right? Like Roger's complaining here. He's telling that he's using color of armament, so that should work on devil fruits, but it doesn't work on Shevek's regeneration. But on top of that, he used conquerors, and it still didn't work on Shevek, right? So he's super confused. It's like saying like color of armament should have worked because he hasn't fought Kaido, so he doesn't know that color of armament doesn't work at a certain level of durability, or he hasn't fought any Lunarians either. And then he says Call of the Supreme King should have absolutely hurt him because Call of the Supreme King has an additional. It is the thing. Call of the Supreme King basically can hurt anything. Like Color of Armament basically kind of has a cap. We don't really know where that cap begins or if it's just for reasons that it exists. But Color of the Supreme King doesn't have a cap. It literally is just that if you have enough Supreme King, you should be able to hurt anything, absolutely anything. And then Garb introduces this thing, except if the other person is guarding with more Supreme King. If the other person is using Supreme King, the following things happens. If they are equal, then it's 0 damage. And then if it's higher for one of them, then obviously the one with higher is the one that's going to do damage. The one with higher will do damage. So basically the strategy here is, let's say Sevek has one Supreme King, and then Garp and Royer each have one as well, right? So together they joined their Supreme King. They got the 2. They use that 2. That negates the Supreme King that Domi Reversi Rox was guarding himself with, and then they can do damage. And they did damage to Shevek this way. So that's it. That's it. They need to surpass it to do damage. Here they just also playing the same thing. The idea that Supreme King Haki can run out, and they will faint if they do not after using their attacks. They do not have the stamina. Again, basically using Haki taxes your body. It makes you weaker, and you have a finite amount. And for another example for this, you can use Enma, right? So Enma is a sword that swallows Haki, right? So if you swallow all of your Haki or a certain amount, you die. That's just how it works. You die at a certain point. So lesser swordsmen would grab Enma. Enma draws the Haki and they die. That's what happens, right? But the idea is that idea gets transmitted through all the Haki, right? If you use too much Haki, you could die. No? If you use Haki, if you deplete all your Haki, you could die. And if you use a lot of Haki, you can faint. And you can see this with Luffy as well, with Gear 4. He is tired, he cannot move, he cannot use Haki, stuff like that. Yeah. Anyways, let's go. Haki also replenishes alone with time. So with enough rest, you will replenish all your Haki and stuff like that. Anyways, yeah, here's just Gavan explaining Color of Supreme King again. And I think that's everything. Yeah, I think that's everything. Okay. So that's about everything. That's about everything I wanted to talk about. Again, just to recap the main idea of this video. Just to recap it again for one last time. Color of the Supreme King. It's literally not a value that can be different than your own strength, right? Your strength of Color of Supreme King is completely related of how strong you are. As the user gets stronger, the Supreme King gets stronger, right? That's it. That's all I wanted to clarify. Because I am tired of the idea of that, oh, yeah, sure, these two characters are equal, But then when you put in the conquerors, this guy has more conquerors, so he wins that fight. No, that's not how it works. The conquerors is completely dependent on their power alone. Without that, basically what I'm trying to say is that, yeah, I mean, like, there are characters that we oftentimes think, yeah, they probably are being carried by hack. They're hacky men or stuff like that. Uh, but I think that's disingenuous. As far as we know in the stories, like, they are super strong even without the hacky, and then the hacky makes them stronger. That's it. It really is that simple. Um, and yeah, that's it. Some characters can use haki better than others, and that's the reason why they win fights. For example, let's just assume. Let me just give you a simple example here. So Shanks has Future Sight. Future Sight is literally mostly an ability. It's not. It doesn't increase your power level, but since Shanks can see the future, right? Let's assume that Shanks and Blackbeard have the same power, right? But Blackbeard cannot see the future. Then Shanks has an advantage. Shanks has some sort of hacks that allows him to do better. In that case, yeah, I mean, the hack is not going to help you for ending. But in regards for AP, and this is what I'm talking about, AP is Haki, specifically armament and conquerors for the ones that can use advanced conquerors, plus the power, the user strength. But conquerors depends directly on the user strength. So at some point, it really just comes down on the user being strong enough by themselves. This is just to say that just because a character has a devil fruit, that doesn't mean that he's stronger than another character that doesn't have a devil fruit. That has never been the case in the story. That will never be the case in the story. Some characters are just monsters, right? Like you could grab the majority of the cast with their devil fruits, and Roger probably beats them all up, and he doesn't have a devil fruit. And he beats them all up, and it's not because he has higher. Well, it is because he has higher reserves of haki. But what I'm trying to say is that those higher reserves of haki depend on him being stronger at base than the other characters at base as well. Is what I'm trying to say. But basically, let's end it here, right? Roger versus Kyle, right? Do they have the same haki? No, they do not. They do not have the same haki. Haki, I mean, Roger has better haki than Kaido. Therefore, even without the haki, Roger is stronger because the amount of haki that you have is completely dependent on the haki, on the power that you have without haki. Now, if they fought without haki, Roger would lose because to harm Kaido, you need that, advanced color of conqueror's haki. But the idea is that no, Roger isn't a weakling if you take away his haki. He's still really strong, and he's in fact stronger than. If you have Roger above Kaido, you need to come to terms that he is stronger than Kaido with or without the haki, because the haki is completely dependent on his power as just a fighter. And yeah, that's basically it. Just wanted to clarify this because I see a lot of discussions on how, this character has a devil fruit and has haki, so yeah, the other character has advanced conquerors, but like whatever, he doesn't have a devil fruit. It's mostly about Zoro. But yeah, I mean, like, I just wanted to clarify that. I mean, it's a stupid. It's a stupid. It's completely stupid to think that devil fruits are that important to the story at this point for power levels. They just aren't. The main thing here is hacking. Then the devil fruits can come useful. They can give you good hacks. They can make you a better fighter. But they just aren't that big of a deal. Same thing honestly with Law, right? Here's the thing. Law fought Haki Master in Virgo back in um, Punk Punk Hazard. Uh, and he beat that guy up. Sure, Law had a devil fruit, but honestly, the devil fruit didn't help him at all. He lost previously a fight against Virgo because his haki was weak. So the only thing that changed from that point to now was that he got stronger haki. Law raised his haki up and then he beat Virgo. That's all I'm saying. All I'm saying is that we should power scale the top tiers. The advanced conquerors, haki users should be power scale with advanced color of conquerors. It is what we know that makes people strong. You have to have it. You need to have it. The only exceptions to this rule so far are the admirals. These are the only characters. For example, so far as we know, the admirals don't have advanced color of conquerors. Specifically, Aoki. Well, Aoki is no longer an admiral, but let's go with Kizaru, Fujitora, and Greenbull have not been confirmed as advanced color of conquerors users or even conquerors users, right? Are Zoro and Yamato stronger than the admirals because the admirals haven't been confirmed to be advanced color of conquerors users? I do not know, and that's the thing. For all the other characters, I can be more confident and tell you yes, they are stronger because they have advanced color of conquerors. But for the admirals, that's the only exception. Everybody else is you need to have it. You just need to have it. That's my point. So, anyways, that's about it for me. See ya.